Hello, everyone. Welcome to this Facebook Live. My name is Wynne-Jones, in case you didn't know. And tonight, or today, or this morning, wherever you are in the world, I am going to be talking about some tools and tips, techniques from the specialty of access consciousness called Talk to the Animals. And the conversation that I am going to be having today is, are you ready to hear the animals talk? So a lot of us will have animals in our life, and often our animals are actually talking to us. Maybe not like Scooby-Doo talks to, all the characters in the cartoon, but they do talk to us in a way that they often communicate with us. And sometimes we're not actually receiving that communication as well as we could be. So it's pretty amazing what can show up when you actually do start to broaden your awareness and the tools that you have available to actually communicate with the animals, because they can show us so much and we can get so much more clarity. And talking of an animal, here comes one. I have my sausage dog, Miss Cleo, coming to say hello. Missy, come and say hello. Come and say hello to everyone. Here we go. This is Cleo, the sausage dog, and she must have known that it was time to hear the animals talk. Hello, Missy. So often my co-facilitators, these guys, I have another sausage dog called Buster, and yeah, they have been with me for quite a long time, and I have established a really great communication with them, and I have a lot of ease with them. And it hasn't always been easy. There's definitely been difficult things, but using the tools of access consciousness and talk to the animals, it's created much more ease in my life with these guys. So I have a feeling she is going to jump off at some point. So you can say bye-bye, Missy. Say bye-bye. Okay. So are you ready to hear the animals talk? So one of the first things about animal communication is basically acknowledging the way that animals communicate. So animals do not communicate from words, like we said, like Scooby-Doo. The way that animals actually communicate is by basically the language of energy. And what is that? Well, if you've ever walked into a room and you know everything that's going on for everyone that's been in the room, and they're all pretending like nothing happened, whether they had an argument or whether someone was upset or, everyone was really happy. You often know when you walk into a room like that what's actually going on for everyone without having all of the words. And so that's how animals also communicate. They communicate based on energy. So it's like for an animal, it's, for example, with a dog, okay? So if you say to a dog that, you're a bad dog, but you do it with the energy of, good dog, you'll get the response from the energy more than you will from the words. Okay. So if you're like, bad dog, they're going to be like, they're going with the energy. Okay. So the words are basically what we use to associate with certain energies. And so, it's like when you get clear on that, when you get clear that that's how animals actually communicate, you can start to use that awareness in a different way to have more clarity and ease with the animals. So, another thing is that, for example, horses, when horses are out in the wild, there is usually a few that are given the job of looking after the pack. Okay. And so when it's a horse's job to look after the pack, it has to have its awareness across the whole pack and then also everything around. And so if, a coyote or a wolf or, any predator comes along and basically that horse is aware of something, it will put its attention and its awareness and its energy on the predator. And now what happens? All the other horses that might have been sleeping or might have been not paying attention, might have been eating, might have been doing something else, what you'll notice is that they'll all turn at the same time and focus their attention in that direction. And what that is that's actually like an energetic connection, an energetic communion that those animals have. And so that's also a really great example about how the language of energy works. Okay. So energy is instantaneous, energy is available all the time. And energy has no bounds, no borders, no boundaries for how it can travel. So you can also have energetic communication with animals, people, things, places, basically from around the world. You don't have to be standing right next to them or talking to them face to face to actually have an energetic awareness of what's going on. So that's a really cool thing because we can actually work with animals from a long distance away. We can also work with people, places, objects, all sorts of things. It's very cool what you can do with energy. So some of the other things when you're beginning to start, basically creating a place where you can hear more of what's going on in the animal kingdom is to basically expand your zone of awareness. And what does that mean? Well, if you think of how far out your awareness is right now in all directions, so awareness tends to be spherical. So if you imagine that you're aware of this much, what we want to ask you to do is to expand out so that you can be aware of more. Okay. And what that does is basically most animals will have quite an expanded zone of awareness because they need to be aware of everything that's going on around them. It might be slightly different for domesticated animals as opposed to wild animals. But in general, most animals are going to have quite an expanded zone. And what you want to do when you actually communicate with an animal is find the zone where they're at and expand out to match that zone. Okay. So let's say, this is the animal and this is their zone of awareness. This is you. You want to expand out your zone of awareness until both of your zones, let's see if I can match it up with my eye. I see you, both of your zone of awareness match. Okay. And from that place, you're going to have a much easier time actually communicating with the animal. Now, the first thing that I probably should have said is actually asking for the animals to show up. Okay, so this is very easy. It's as simple as that. Basically, just asking, "Hey, what would it take for more animals to show up in my life so that I can communicate with them?" And I would like to hear what the animals have to say. Now, that might mean that you wake up tomorrow morning and the animals are really loud, or that might mean that you're walking along to work tomorrow and, a cat or a dog comes to say hello, or a bird, or, it could show up in all sorts of different ways. Okay. But once you ask, you will receive. So the other part of the communication is, so we've expanded our zone of awareness, and now really it's about functioning from question. So when you communicate with an animal, you want to ask questions that have no conclusion attached, open-ended questions. And when you truly ask a question, you basically open the doors to different possibilities. Okay, and if you ask a question of an animal, often what they will do is they will actually show you the information about what you're asking about. Okay, so this can show up in lots of ways. Sometimes it can show up as what might appear like a thought in your head. Sometimes the animal might actually, move in a certain way, or do something that indicates that they're receiving, your questions. And then they might start to actually show you in that same manner a little bit about what's going on for them. So, for example, if it's about the food that they're eating, they might wander over, next to the food that, I don't know, they like or they don't like, something like that. It depends what question you've asked. The other way that animal communication can also show up is pictures. So what animals will do when communicating is like they'll basically energetically download the information, and sometimes that shows up as a picture. So you might get like a moving picture, more like a movie of what's going on. You might just get an image. Sometimes people, can hear different sounds or different colors. It can show up in lots of different ways. It's not really important how it shows up. It's just important that you get aware of, what's actually showing up based on the question you've asked. And then don't come to conclusion about what you're aware of. Keep asking questions. And if it starts to get heavy, that kind of tends to mean that you've lost track a little bit, or you might have come up against a conclusion or a lie. Okay. But if it's light, if the communication is light, then generally it's true and you're on the right track. So animals also don't have as many points of view about things like death or disease, things like that. They tend to function a little bit more, I guess, in a kind of logical way, where they're like, yeah, I'm going to die. I have no point of view about dying. I'll probably just go and get another body. So, even if it might be heavy for you, but the communication is still light, then, you might be on the right track. So, just keep going, keep asking questions, and see what shows up. And so this is really the beginning of, starting to hear the animals, and also starting to be able to get a little bit more information and awareness about what is going on for the animals. But it is just the very beginning. And so, I'm a talk to the animals facilitator. And one of the things that I like to do is, classes and sessions with people on how to basically strengthen, establish and strengthen the communication that's available with the animal kingdom. And, like I said, it can show you a lot about the animal. It can show you probably even more about you, which is what most people find. And it's also, if you're into the tools of access consciousness, it's a really amazing way to apply these tools practically and pragmatically, because you cannot communicate with an animal while not being the tools of access consciousness. You actually have to choose to step into something different, and you have to be it. So it's actually really great for building those muscles. So I hope you got something out of this live today. As I said, my name is Wynne-Jones, and I have also many classes. You can go to my website, sewinjones.com, and you can find them there. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. There's also Spanish and Russian translation in the comments if you wanted to receive that. I hope you found that. And I look forward to seeing some of you around the world soon. And if you've been watching, thank you so much. Bye for now.